Welcome to another edition of Cheers to Careers. I'm Steve Ridinghouse, the Career Outreach Coordinator at the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at KU. Hello and welcome to another episode of Cheers to Careers. I'm Steve Ridinghouse, the Career and Outreach Coordinator for the KU School of Journalism and Mass Communications. Today we are joined by Jose Montoya, Assistant Athletic Director at Eastern New Mexico. Jose, welcome. This is our first virtual trip to New Mexico.
Great to bring you a little bit of the land of enchantment to the land of KU.
Awesome. Hey, I know you've been extremely busy since you graduated from KU. I know you were a dual major in journalism and sports management. So yeah, give us kind of a quick recap. What have you been up to? I know you got a master's degree and before you headed out to Mexico, your home state.
Right, so since I left Lawrence, Kansas, I've been a little bit of everywhere, from internships in the DMV area and Knox College, Galesburg, Illinois. Pursued a master's degree at Wisconsin-Madison, and then got to come back home to the great state of New Mexico, and now I'm working at Eastern New Mexico University.
Now, was that always your plan to return to your home state?
Definitely not always in my plan, but it's always a great benefit to be able to say, hey, I got this great position and this great opportunity to learn and grow in intercollegiate athletics.
And how close is Portales to your hometown?
To my hometown, 3.5 hours.
3.5, because I know, yeah, it's a big state. Because what is your hometown?
Yep, my hometown is Los Lunas, New Mexico.
Okay.
So, yep.
And remind me again, how did you connect with KU? How did that KU story come about?
Right, so as I was applying to different colleges and universities and trying to figure out what's the next path for me right after high school, I found a couple emails from the University of Kansas that kind of caught my eye. Hit a quick application, submitted it, got accepted, and then I had to make the grueling decision. So when I came to campus in March of the year of like high school senior year, I really liked my tour there. And then I also took an opportunity to visit Creighton in Omaha.
Okay.
And between the other schools that I visited and had been accepted to, and once it came down to it, I earned a very good scholarship through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and that allowed me to pursue education outside of the state of New Mexico.
Okay. And I know you're a first-gen student, and I know when I visit with first-gen students, a lot of times they're hesitant to, use the resources. But if I remember, I mean, you took advantage of a lot of different opportunities. I know you're in the leadership club. You're a member of the Journalism Student Leadership Board. I think you're marching Jayhawks. It seemed like you really embraced that whole college experience.
Absolutely. I knew that I had been given a true blessing, a true opportunity to pursue my degree at the University of Kansas. And so I took every opportunity to join whatever club and organization I could, and also to stay involved in any way as possible. So joining the Marching Jayhawks, being very involved within both the journalism school and the School of Education, that was valuable for me.
Time management. I assume you developed some pretty good time management skills during your time at KU?
I think I definitely tested my time management skills more than anything.
And your role as assistant athletic director, because you have certain sports that you oversee, correct?
I do, yes.
What are some of the things, like in terms of like overseeing those sports? So do you oversee you said the marketing communications? I mean, so you, like with social media, website, media relations, you kind of involve all that, correct?
So yeah, throughout the whole athletic department, I get to watch our oversight through what we do in terms of public relations and how we organize conversations with media members, but also how we manage conversation with the community and those fans that want to engage with the Greyhounds. And so that's really important for me. Specifically, I get to operate day to day with football, men's basketball. I get to do some mix with track and field, cross country, and the rodeo program.
Rodeo. Wow, I don't talk to too many rodeo media contacts. That's so. Do you know a lot about rodeo?
I definitely know a lot more about rodeo than I did 2 years ago.
um, and while you're in Wisconsin, work on your master's in educational leadership and policy analysis. I know you gained some experience as a brand communication assistant with Wisconsin. What was that experience like?
Right, being at another Power 5 school was really cool. R1 institution that provided so many great experiences. One being a brand communications assistant, where I got to work with men's and women's soccer. I worked with men's basketball during the year they won the regular season title, and also women's lightweight rowing.
And how did that come into play, like with your job now? I mean, I would think just having that experience had to make you feel a little bit more comfortable in your role now.
Absolutely. It's probably the reason why I'm able to get a role like I have now is because of my experience at Wisconsin and what I did day in, day out with them.
And during your time at KU, I know you touched on this a little bit already. I know you took advantage of multiple internships. How important are those internships to that college experience?
Internships are so important. I don't think I would be where I am without that first internship. I took a chance flying across the country, if you will, and went to Washington D.C. after my sophomore year, and took the opportunity to be an intern with Catholic News Service. And I really toned up my writing skills, my reporting skills, video editing, and so much more when it came to just being more of a professional in this workforce.
And I know you also did an internship with Knox. I know everybody knows Max, professor at KU. Did that come into play, connecting you with that internship?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
Max was pretty much the reason why I ended up at Knox College. He introduced me to the athletic department, and they took me in and they welcomed me with open arms. And the athletic director there at the time allowed me to do so much in the 600 hours that were required for that sport management graduation requirement.
Oh, wow. And so when you graduated from KU, combining journalism and sports, so was that always part of the plan when you arrived at KU, or did that kind of develop over your time in Lawrence?
One of the reasons why I went to KU is the opportunity to double major. Being able to take classes in both sport management and journalism was a really key point of emphasis for deciding where I wanted to go to school. So I'm glad I went to KU because of that. And being able to go into my journalism classes and really take in what I was learning in sport management and be able to report on those stories and also enhance those skills, truly valuable.
And at KU, was there one or two classes that made a huge difference for you, or a faculty member that you really connected with? I mean, who were some of those key classes or key players in your success?
Sure, I think we've already said a lot of those names already, but between Cal, Max, Dr. Crawford, um, so many great people within that faculty, Dr. Bennett, incredible minds who know so much, not only in like the journalism side of things, but just on how to be a better person and how to work more ethically in our workforce.
And I
So,
know you're, oh,
yeah,
go
when I
ahead.
think about classes, I definitely think about the opportunity of going to Arizona for spring training and learning how to turn in stories on a fairly quick notice. That was really neat. And then just all the new and unique opportunities that the sport management classes also brought.
In that spring training trip to Arizona, do you remember the players you might have talked to with the Royals?
Right. So I talked to Alan Trejo,
Okay.
Miles Jones, then I also talked to a player from the Dominican Republic. And all three of them, great people. Trejo is definitely in and out with the Rockies right now. And Miles Jones had a little bit of opportunities with the Rockies, but mostly in the minor leagues. But truly a great time over there.
Because you had some pretty good access. I remember right. I mean, didn't you get to like sit on the field, like just kind of one on one?
Yes, that was the whole task of being able to be one on one with the player, talking with some of the people who know them best prior to those, and then also utilizing those conversations afterwards.
Tell me a little bit about your internal communications experience, because I think a lot of times, people don't really see the value in that. They think of media relations, getting your key points out there. But what about the importance of, like just communicating with your staff and your organization, and what kind of experience do you have in that area?
Right. That one's so important, and it definitely gets overlooked way too much because at the end of the day, people that you work with need to know what's going on. They're the first ones that need to be in the know, per se, because when people go to or they hear a story happening, they'll go to different peoples within the organization, and if they don't know, they don't know. And if they do know, then you're definitely doing a better job at communicating overall as a team. But also, it just helps the whole organization function way better.
Because yeah, I have some experience in internal communications, and I always think of your team, your staff, coworkers. I mean, they're your advocates, and yeah, you want to make sure you're communicating the right points because they're your great ambassadors. So Jose, we're about a little over a month before the class of 24 graduates, walks down the hill. Always like to ask our alums, if you were talking to a soon-to-be grad, what kind of advice would you have for them, as they enter the workforce in journalism or sports management?
Right. So the first one is just don't forget your home on the hill. Those are the people who helped form part of your life. And for me, it was 4 great years in Lawrence, Kansas, a place where I knew zero people coming in August of 2015. And by the time I left, I'd be able to go to every grocery store in town. I bet you I'd know a couple people in there, so I'd have to stop and say hello to everyone. And then the second would be to reach high, set your goals high. What does that mean? That means don't question yourself, don't question your worth or your value when it comes to that next job or career opportunity, because you are worth it. You have that value and you can bring that. Just bring your confidence through your application, your interview, and whenever you actually get that job.
No, well said. Yeah, we'll definitely make sure we share that with our students. Well, before you go, I know you have a busy schedule. We started this feature about a month or so ago. It's called Fast Five. So I got 5 quick questions for you. So I know you talked about track and field. You oversee that. So what is your best track and field event? Are you a jumper, runner, thrower?
Long distance.
Long distance? Okay. You're a marching Jayhawk. So if you had to perform a solo right now, what song would you be performing?
I'd go to with the best band in the land, Kansas.
And what instrument did you play?
Yep. So I played sousaphone.
Sousaphone. That's right. I was trying to remember.
Yep.
I did notice on your LinkedIn profile during your time in Wisconsin, you were an Uber driver for a short time. What was your longest trip you ever provided to an Uber passenger? Do you remember how long that trip was?
Yep. So if you've ever been to Albuquerque, there's a north side with a casino. It's probably about, I'd say, an hour and 15 minutes worth of driving, but there was traffic the whole way, so it took about 2 hours.
So you were doing Uber while you were in New Mexico?
Yes.
Okay. Then I know. And also, I noticed, I think you were a press announcer for KU Athletics for tennis, softball, rowing, and swimming. What was like your go-to call in rowing? Is there any great PR tricks for being a rowing announcer?
Honestly, the biggest thing right there is paying attention because race days are long.
And last question, how many teams are left in your Sweet 16 bracket?
Great question. Right now we're sitting pretty. 12.
12, that's good. That's good. Do you still have your final 4 teams left?
We're all set.
Nice. Hey, well done, Jose. Hey, I appreciate your time. I know you got an extremely busy schedule with Eastern New Mexico, and it's been fun to follow your career. I know I started here, I think, in 2015, so I think I remember when you started, taking classes soon after I started. So, hey, again, I appreciate Jose, and thanks for all you do. I always like to close with a little cheers. I got my KU mug, and thanks for being here. Cheers.
Cheers.